The Girl from Everywhere, filmed by Matthew Hurt. Summary of The Girl from Everywhere. This story begins with a teenage girl, Nyx, whose mother had died after her birth. However, Nyx's father, Slate, was unique compared to others. Once Slate has access to a map, he can navigate to the time and location of the map with the ship Temptation. This begins the journey of Nyx, Slate, and the crew members of the Temptation. Their navigation began in India, in the time period 1774. The story begins in the market of India in 1774 with Nyx, a teenage girl who was worried about the future after Slate found the map of Hawaii of 1868. The reason why Nyx is scared is that the possibility of her death after Slate changes the past. While Nyx is worried about her future, she's requesting a discount from merchant to buy a mythical bird. After, Kashmir is introduced to the story. Kashmir is a Persian thief and a crew member of Temptation that take an interest of Nyx. Kashmir brought a bag of gold coins and paid for the mythical bird Nyx wanted. A few moments later, British guards arrived at the scene to search for the thief that had stolen the wealth of the palace. However, Kashmir and Nyx had fled the scene and returned to Temptation. Now Nyx, Slate, and the crew member of Temptation have gotten what they want. They set sail to New York in 1981. The ship has successfully sailed to New York, but the time is wrong. They arrived in May 2016 in New York. Not only did they sail at the wrong time, they were also spotted by the Coast Guard while having illegal animals like tigers on their boat. After a few hours of conversation with the Coast Guard, Nyx and the crew member managed to set sail to New York in 1981 again. This time, the ship have successfully sailed to New York in 1981. Afterward, Nyx, Kashmir, and Slate disembark the ship and head off to the auction house to buy the map of Hawaii of 1868. Slate has successfully bid for the map of Hawaii of 1868. After a day of rest, they set sail to the map of Hawaii of 1868. The same problem happened once again. The destination was correct, but the time was wrong. They arrived in Hawaii on October 24, 1884. Slate was dismayed after his hope has vanished. After Nyx has calmed Slate down, Nyx disembarked the ship and met Blake. After a short conversation with Blake, Nyx head off to Joe's pharmacy. Joe is a member of Nyx's mother, Lynn. Joe told Nyx that she is a prophet. After a long conversation with Joe, Nyx returned to Temptation. After a few hours, the night had arrived. A man called Mr. Hart suddenly appeared and claimed he had a map of Hawaii of 1868. However, in return he wants Slate to rob the palace in exchange for the map. Slate agreed and was invited to the ball 5 days later. Nyx had felt anxious about the future after Slate get hold of the map, which led to Nyx leaving the ship. After a long walk, Nyx meets Blake again. During the walk, Blake shows signs of affection he feels for Nyx. Blake started to talk about the tales of Hawaiians such as the Healing Spring and the Guardian of Hawaii, the Night Marchers. Afterward, Nyx returned back to the ship and planned to steal the map during the ball 5 days later with Kashmir. 5 days later, Nyx, Kashmir, and Slate arrived at the ball. In the ball, Nyx and Kashmir successfully stolen the map. However, Blake misunderstood what Kashmir was doing and caused Mr. Hart to notice Cashmere had stolen the map. After a long conversation, Mr. Hart had let go of the problem. A few days later, Nix head off to Joe's pharmacy again. Joe said that she would give the elixir that can heal Lin in exchange for a mission to the tomb of Emperor Quinn. Also, Joe told Nix that she would die after she arrived in 1868 by the Great Fire, which brought more fear to Nix. As time passed, Nix, Slate, Cashmere, and the crew set sail to the tomb of Emperor Quinn. Nix, Slate, Cashmere, and the crew successfully navigate to the tomb of Emperor Quinn. However, the navigation ended up being on top of a pole of mercury. After hours of struggle, Nix and the crew have managed to get out on the ground. Soon after, Nix continued with the mission given by Joes. In the ocean of terracotta soldiers, Nix and Cashmere managed to finish the task, but killed a revived terracotta soldier by accident in the process. After, they flee the scene immediately and return to Temptation. After, they return to Hawaiian Island with a hand-drawn map made by Blake. Nix, Slate, Cashmere started to take all the fortune contained in the palace. Shortly after, they successfully took the wealth out of the castle and met Blake. However, Mr. Hart threatened Slate to hand him over gold and ordered Nix to sell Temptation to escape the chase. In the process, Blake, Slate, Cashmere were shot by Mr. Hart. Meanwhile, Nix had remembered the tale of the Guardian of Hawaii, the Night Marchers. Nix has lured Mr. Hart to anger the Night Marchers. As a result, Mr. Hart was captured by the Night Marchers and was never seen again. Although Mr. Hart has been taken care of, Blake is moribund. A few moments later, Nix remembers another tale about the healing spring told by Blake. So Nix and the crew brought Blake to the healing spring. Surprisingly, the story about the healing spring was true, and Blake was fully recovered. Shortly after, they board the ship. Nix tells Slate that the map won't work without her on board. However, after Slate's experience of nearly losing Nix, Slate had realized that Nix is more crucial compared to his long-lost wife. At last, Blake has joined the Temptation crew, and the navigation begins once again. And that is the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel.